All right, ladies and gentlemen, pre-show shenanigans. Grant, I had to switch up the intro a little bit for the pre-show. We're just gonna have some fun with it. But it is Masters week, Masters weekend, this weekend, Grant. And in honor of that, we've already done the
Yeah,
best
we've
Masters
broken
dinner. We've
down.
covered that Masters
And
dinners.
that Masters dinner, is that on Wednesday night, the day before opening?
I believe that sounds
That
that sounds
sounds
correct.
right. I
We
don't
might need
know,
to see
but
a correlation of master dinner attendance and then their performance the next day.
specifically day
We
one.
I
I'm looking
also
at
need that.
Spieth specifically. I think
Yeah.
there's a good chance Spieth shits the bed every single Thursday just because of that
Well,
Masters dinner.
that and I want to see specifically what it was after Bubba Watson's dinners. Maybe everybody played better because they just actually
Because
no, maybe they played marginally worse because the only thing they could have is alcohol during that.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
they had to make up for the dinner somehow.
Yeah,
But
either that or they may be better because like they late nighted Popeyes or something. I don't know.
well,
I
hey,
don't know.
Popeyes is sometimes hard to get. They would have been
Oh,
Chick-fil-A
you're right.
in
You are correct.
Atlanta. So
Popeyes, when it comes to nighttime in the drive-through, all right, you are not the priority.
maybe
Okay,
that's
you
why
are
my
not the
order was
priority.
maybe that's why my order got kind of scuffed was because the Masters put in a $400 order for Popeyes. That
Hey,
could
I
have been
will
it.
say though, the Popeyes is not Popeyes in my eyes unless it's come with an extra side of hate and anger.
Well,
Okay,
that's
that's the
Waffle
best type of pop.
House. That's Waffle House.
Honestly, Waffle House, they're like that one restaurant. Um, I think it's called Dick's, where they just like openly make fun of you. Like they put like a paper cart, like a
Yeah, yeah,
paper
they
bag over your head, like you're the throwback Lions
yeah,
Browns fans for
yeah.
our whole childhood.
Well, still Browns fans today, but yes. Yeah. Um, but all
I was
right,
trying to
great.
help you get a dig at the Lions there. You
Well,
did not need to
I
clarify
can't.
still Browns. You could have just
I
been like, yeah, both of them.
I unfortunately I can't do that with the Lions because they did win the division over us last year. Otherwise, I would have.
You can still you can certainly still shit talk them.
Grant, you're like trying to get my hate. Like, I need, in order for me to have the hatred I have in season, like, I need to, like,
I think I need to like be a Lions defender to really get it out of you.
well, that,
So
but
you'll
also,
start
like,
noticing that. You'll
you
start
need to
picking up on it.
let me, like, build up the hatred through the off season so I can let it out for a full entire NFL season. Otherwise, I might say something too nice during the season, and then we have problems.
Okay.
Because that started to happen with the Bears, and I couldn't. No, I got to build up the
Well, I'll
hatred.
say this. I think the Bears, like I think your hatred has been very exponentially rising. And I am on the side of how you think of the Lions. The Bears are an absolute joke. I don't know why you've even thought about them at all over the past 3 months. What is there
We'll see
to
what happens in the
think about?
draft. Ash and Genty.
Uh, it's just I don't care. Like that is that going to make the Bears win the NFC? No. No, it's
No, but
not.
it would not be an enjoyable situation for me to see twice a year.
Well, like
Not saying we're
for a
going to lose
little
those
bit,
games, but it
but
just
like
makes me hold my breath a little bit longer than the 5 seconds I do
well,
to start the
I
game.
think you'll forget your defensive drive very quickly when on offense, JJ McCarthy can throw to whoever the hell he wants and it's just a touchdown. Like
Yeah, yeah. The Bears always play us well, though, so that's kind of why I do that.
but I think the Bears are gonna have hype next year, and that's when it all
they're
comes
the
crashing
off-season
down.
winners every year. Grant, they
No,
have
no, I
hype
know, I
every
know.
season.
No, I
The
know.
Vikings had worse odds to win the NFC North after the offseason,
I know,
after
but
free
because
agency.
they have expectations once again, nothing's happening. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm just fearing
It's
the
another
day that
choke.
something does happen, though. That's my only concern.
Once
Um,
again, like I think
but
you got to misdirect your energy.
back
Keep your eyes on the
let me
prize.
build up
Packers
my
are way
hatred.
more horrifying than the Bears. Agree?
Yeah.
No?
It's just the Packers. People give more weight to the fact that they're the Packers. It's just the
no,
Packers.
I know, but that does have to like you should
If
expect
it's
them
me
year to
right
year to be
now,
consistent
over
a
the
little bit.
last like 2 years, Packers are a better team. Don't get me wrong. Packers overall better team, better coach. But like last season, especially like the Bears and the Packers, the first Bears game that we played and the Packers kind of felt as a team a little bit the same. But it's just the fact that the rivalry of the Packers escalates everything for us. They're always both sides are going to play harder for that game. But back to the Masters, Grant. I have a list of the 15 things that you get when you win the Masters, if you're interested in hearing.
I don't think I'm aware of this.
Yeah, I didn't know. I knew you got a jacket. I knew you got invited to
I know you get the
dinner.
green
I
jacket.
know you got like a invitation to like
You,
Augusta and
you
the
get to play for the
Masters.
rest of your life.
Yeah.
I know that,
Yeah.
but let's hear it.
Yeah.
Let's hear
So
it.
so first of all, you get the green jacket. Is this, by the way, I have like inside information. Like this apparently started in 1949 when the green jacket started. Um, you get your engraving on the Masters trophy. Your name gets engraved,
Yes. Yes.
right?
Uh-huh.
You get a replica of the trophy, which, by the way, like it's a sick trophy. It's just the Augusta like clubhouse.
I'll be honest. The Masters Trophy. Oh, I know what the Masters Trophy is. Now that
Yeah,
you said, okay,
it's the
now I know.
Augusta clubhouse.
I do think
Pretty
of Green
sweet.
Jacket though first
No,
before,
no. When
which
I think
makes sense.
when we debate the
Should
best trophies in sports, we typically
you say
say the
Green
green
Jacket, and that
jacket.
counts as a
Yeah,
trophy? It does.
yeah. The only difference is obviously there's rules with the green jacket though, which is unfortunate, but it is why it makes it even
I don't
better.
think I know
You didn't
these
know the rules?
rules.
So when you win the
Give me an example.
Masters,
I might know these,
well,
but
when you win the Masters, you only get to wear the green jacket for a full like until the next Masters start. Once the next Masters start, you have to return the green jacket, and you can only wear it if you win the Masters again, or if you're at the Masters dinner. Like that's it.
Oh, okay. I do think I know this. Yeah, no. It
Yeah.
can't be a random Saturday night on Thanksgiving weekend. No, you cannot be wearing your
No,
Masters
like you
jacket
have to.
that
You
weekend.
literally
No.
return
Yeah.
the Masters jacket to your locker at Augusta.
Okay.
You get a Masters gold medal. Didn't know that. Didn't
Did
know
not know
that.
that.
3.5 inch medal that features a picture of the clubhouse. You get a gold locket. Um, I believe it has a silhouette of the clubhouse and maybe a picture of the golfer. Um, you get an invitation to the Champions Dinner. You get an honorary membership to Augusta, of course, which, by the way, that is the most exclusive membership on the planet.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. You get a locker in the Champions Locker.
No, literally that's like the most exclusive club on earth. Like
No, yeah.
Bohemian Grove can't even hold
You
Augusta's
also like
jockstrap.
you're not allowed like the I don't even think I think the only maybe I can't remember if you're allowed your phone if you hit a hole in one at Augusta or if you hit a hole in one at Augusta, they give you a painting of you hitting the hole in one because you're not allowed
Probably
to have
that.
your phone to take
You're
a
not allowed
picture.
to have your
I think
phone.
that might
You're
be
not
it.
allowed
Is
to
they
have your
literally
phone.
make a painting of you like
So yeah,
celebrating
you're
whatever
not
to give it to
allowed.
you.
You're not allowed to have the phone there at all, and so that extends to spectators.
Yeah.
Like
Also,
you have to put your
did
phone.
not know this. Masters champions are allowed to use the champions only range for Masters tournaments and when they come to Augusta.
Okay.
So while everybody else is using the tournament practice facility, whatever, the champions are allowed to use the champions only range.
Yeah, was not aware that they had that. I did know though this year. Now we can get into it in the episode. Don't need to now in the pre-show, but the Masters, they are already the goats at live broadcasts.
Oh yes,
they decided to one up themselves, and they've decided to just be the goats at just any type of analytics you could think of when it comes to golf. So Everett, every single player when they hit practice shots on the range, they will be filmed, analyzed, and put out information on their shots to the world.
I mean that for a golf nerd, that is amazing.
If you're a golf nerd right now, oh my goodness,
or just
get up early.
Any dad over the age of like 47 sitting on your couch to start the morning. That's also it. Bloody Mary to start the day.
I'm not quite as much of an avid golfer as I wish I was, but I believe they call it a TrackMaster. They have it set up at a ton of different ranges. Yes. It's kind of like they're just publishing TrackMaster online.
Yep.
And there's also broadcasts of them hitting practice shots too. So you could literally
so you also get a lifetime invitation to the Masters no matter what. Like you could not have golfed for like in the tournament or in the PGA for like a decade and you can still go.
Yeah, like Fred Couples is definitely playing this weekend.
Bernhard Langer will play his last Masters this year at age 67. I don't think I've ever seen him play in a PGA tournament in the past decade.
Yeah, I've
So,
never heard of the
um,
guy. I would say though, to announce this your last Masters at 67, I think he's going to regret this decision. I don't think you should retire right now. If as long as
well,
you
he's
can
like, I feel
golf,
like you've been
you should.
retired, but you just,
Oh, no, no, yeah, he has. But as long as you
as
can
you can golf, you should
swing
go to the
the golf,
Masters.
you should
Yeah,
play
you
in
should go
it
to the
if you're a
Masters.
former winner.
Yeah.
I
Um,
hope Tiger is playing in this thing in 9 years.
well, the
We'll
only
see about
problem
Tiger's
is his
career. But yeah, no,
spine.
no, I know.
That's
But like,
you know
even
what?
if
In the
I don't
LeBron
care what
style of
his
things,
score
though,
is, I
I
want
just
him
want to
to
see
beat it.
Tiger and his son
Yeah,
playing
no,
in the
exactly,
Masters at
exactly.
the
I
same time.
I
That's just what
literally
I need to see.
I do
And if
not
Tiger
care at
doesn't,
all if he's good or not.
if Tiger decides that he can't golf for the next 10 years and his son makes it to the Masters, I'm expecting him to pick up a club for the
Well,
first time
the
in a
good news,
decade
if
and
if
go.
Tiger can confirm that he will play in 10 Masters from now, but not for the next 9 Masters, that'd be good because he'd still be in a Masters where Jim Nance is calling it after he announces
Yes.
11
Well, no,
11 year
I would
retirement
not be
tour.
surprised if Tiger decides that in a decade from now with Jim Nance that that is his last Masters as well, and they go out together.
I mean, we didn't really spend time on it, but that's truly one of the most absurd things of you announced a 1 year retirement tours like for an announcer, that's already like, all right, you're pushing it, giving yourself a retirement. In 11 year retirement tour, you have a decade of Jim Nance, another decade, and he wanted to just let you know, guys, let you know, I'm hanging it up 11 M's from now.
Hey, it's an all-time great
Crazy.
right there. It's an
That's
all-time great.
crazy.
It's an all-time great. Yeah, but so you also get a lot of points. We don't care about that. You get $3.6 million just for winning.
Yeah.
You get a 5-year major exemption. So of like any of the majors, you get an exemption.
So
You
you
don't
get to play in those majors,
you are
or
automatically qualified for every major through the
got
next
it,
5 years.
got it.
You get a 5-year PGA Tour exemption.
So you can play in any PGA Tour event without qualifying, or
I believe so. That's what it sounds like.
okay, yeah, I have
You are
no clue.
allowed a special tee time. Now, this is sick. You're allowed a special tee time on the
Sunday
before the
before.
Masters where you are allowed to bring a guest.
Now this I know. That
Yeah.
is now to have the honorary membership, and that is obviously as sick as it gets. That's the best reward you could have. But why that one is so important is because you get to bring the guest. I would
Yeah.
I would assume an honorary membership at Augusta isn't allowed to bring a guest. I would assume
No. I'm if they do that fee to bring a guest on might be the most absurd thing you
well,
will
the
see in your entire
Augusta,
life.
they don't care about money. I read up on this a while ago. The Augusta National Golf Club and its members, they don't care about money. They actually leave so much money on the table every single Masters, and they're completely fine with it because they are that
High of an echelon.
high ego, that high, like that
Look, I would
big of
have that ego
themselves.
too.
They're that big of themselves that they're just like, no, no, no. Money's for the peasants. We're not here for money. We don't care about money. We're here to show off how great this golf course is, and we want anyone watching by the end of this tournament to be willing to do anything to be a fan at the Masters one day. Its exclusivity makes it this cool.
So, speaking of Augusta, Grant, this is where I want to end off the pre-show. I'm like trying to read this as I'm talking. So I believe this is kind of related to the local community, like local colleges and stuff. So is where like who's mainly going to use this. But Augusta has announced that Tiger Woods will be designing a new course for them at the club.
That is crazy. That's crazy.
So it seems like it's going to be more of like a collegiate kind of short course, like ordeal, like not like it's going to be a part of the Masters or anything, and it's not like you're going to be like a member of a club to like the club to use it kind of ordeal. But yeah, that is. I saw that and I was like, all right, well, I got to bring that up.
Yeah, I don't know this exactly, but I think there's like a set of PGA tournament courses that were all designed by like Arnold Palmer or like Gary Player, Jack Nicklaus, one of the golfing legends. They like just designed a massive set of courses. Uh, but I'd go out on a limb and say former players are like probably the last people you'd want to be designing courses because they are that good, and they might they might bring the overall happiness of those who play the course
You
down
know who they should bring
immensely.
out? You know who Tiger should bring out for this, Grant? The Sod Father.
Oh,
Let's have a
oh.
joint venture here.
I thought you were about to give me Shooter McGavin right there, and I was so
No,
amped up.
no, he should. They should also do that, but the Sod Father. Also, I'm going to be honest, that maybe the best time ever possible for them to release Happy Gilmore 2, which they should have done, would have been directly following the Masters.
Yeah, yeah.
Should have done that.
Now, would it be the weekend after? You can't do it Masters weekend, but would it be best the weekend before or after?
Well, you don't want people to like, if it's the weekend before, then it's going to be running at the same time during the Masters. So it kind of needs to be after the
Oh,
Masters.
yeah, I'm just purely thinking of opening weekend here. Yeah, no, it has
Yeah,
to be
it needs to be
afterwards.
after. It has to be
Okay,
the
yeah,
directly the week after though. Yeah.
yeah. No,
So
no, it's gotta be out. Got to be out quick. But
yeah.
yeah, Masters, interesting time. I will just quickly say this before we get into the episode. Masters app is the greatest thing ever. It is the greatest thing ever. You don't need to log into anything. If you Google masters.com, click watch or live or whatever, you can see anything. And it's so good that like you can pick one player you want to watch. Like for me, I'm gonna have to be locking in to Rory. I have to watch Rory this year.
You
Like
also have to watch Scotty. Everybody
yeah,
needs to watch
yeah.
Scotty.
But also by nature, the Scotty stuff, it's you can't not see it. You know, you're gonna see Scotty's shots over this weekend. That's going to happen. But I'm going to have to be tapped in to my dog. I also Ludwig Aberg. That is the man I'm looking at for this tournament. Absolute stallion, absolute rocket. All right,
And
this guy.
he did really well last year too, but
He was
we'll
doing
probably
really well.
save that
He
for a later
absolutely
talk.
collapsed, shit the bed, choked at the end. I'll never forget. I remember watching. I think he like hit the water or just like one of the worst
He was
hits
not
or
built for the bright
something.
lights.
And he just absolutely choked it away. But I will be keeping my eye on them. Of course, Max Homa, another one to watch for me. Everybody's going to be watching Bryson and Brooksy, of course. And then last guy that I will be looking closely, Will Zalatoris. Don't sleep on Willie Z. I think either last Masters or like a major last year, he finished like second.
Yeah.
Or something.
Why don't we let's get into the episode and we'll talk some more Masters at the start of the episode.
Yeah. All right. Without further ado, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Waterboy Podcast. Today's episode 305. And we finally got March Madness over this last weekend. We just said went over in the Masters, but personally, I am way too invested in the Masters this year.
Real quick, congratulations to the Florida Gators for winning the national championship. And then hold on.
Ooh.
Congratulations. Well. Congratulations to Houston for winning the national championship. That's not happening, but just had to get that out there.
So this is the thing. I really think Houston's going to do it. I really think Houston's going to do it.
I think Florida's going to.
I've been so dead. The brakes off.
I think they might beat the brakes off Houston.
The brakes is
by breaks. I mean like they're going to win by 15
double
points.
Digit plus.
Yeah.
I think it's way more likely that Florida could blow out Houston than Houston could blow out Florida. I just feel like we're about to get a classic tonight.
I think it's going to be a classic either way,
classic.
But I'll be honest, Duke absolutely dunk in the last minute of
No,
that
no,
game.
they completely
And
collapsed, choked the whole thing. I've
if they hadn't, they probably would have won by double digits if they kept up their pace. And Houston, without falter, by the way, like Auburn is a team we always know collapses towards the end. They never win it. They always collapse. Houston, same kind of thing. Duke, same kind of thing. The only team that is not that way, that is currently at this point in time, is Florida.
Well, we can't label Florida a historic, near term more so. Can't really label them a choker because we've never seen them have a team like this.
But that's my point. That's my point. The only one that we know or don't know right now is Florida. And because of that, you got to give them weight. Plus, not to mention, the Auburn Florida game alone, like that gives me so much faith in Florida's ability to just wipe the floor with Houston. And maybe it's just my issue. Maybe I have a bias against Houston because every year, same terminology, double digit.
No. I know what you mean. I'm just like, to wipe the floor with Houston. That's
And it's not saying the game's not going to be close, but like wiping the floor, I guess like if we're saying double digits,
well,
like,
you
it
are
could be
implying
like a
it's not
7-point game, and
when you say wipe the floor
to get to double,
it's in my eyes. When you're saying wipe the floor, in my eyes, it's like it is a 12-point game at halftime. In the second half, anytime Houston cuts the lead to single digits, Florida hits a three immediately.
Here's the thing: Florida
that's what I'm
is
thinking.
Also Florida, especially in the Auburn game too. Florida's a second half team. And that's the real big point where I think you're going to see the separation. I'm not saying that Florida is going to be winning at halftime, but I will say in the second half, Florida is going to win that half by a decent amount.
Okay, I'm not going to fight back on that opinion. I will just say Houston. I hate Houston. I'm done with them. Last 3 years, I picked them to win.
Yeah, you picked Gonzaga to beat them.
I'm done with their shit, and it hurts that like that was like kind of close at the end. It's like, whatever. That's a loser pick. Anyway, my one thing about Houston is that they're just, it's the team. It's just it's the team.
Both teams. It's both teams, and yeah, they like, but it's also
the
they
dogs
got more,
on Houston. It's just
they got. It wasn't necessarily that like. I don't want to give Kelvin Sampson like credit for the last 30 seconds of that game, but
I think he deserves credit. The inbounding defensive plays were excellent. But I still think
they got more
that luck. Last play in their last round, 2 seconds left, inbound it back to the.
I think that they had more luck on their side, and Duke.
Luke. Yeah, of course.
When that typically happens,
but that's going to happen in that finish. I mean, that was one of the most lucky wins. I mean, Duke just. Holy shit. Before, like, we really got to spend time on Duke before we think about Florida Houston anymore. Like, holy shit. The end of that game, like, I think they're up 7 with 1:30 left. And is Con Knippel shooting free throws at that point? And he breaks them? Is that how it went down? Was that when the technical happened at 1:30, or was that at like 45 seconds?
That was like 45 seconds.
Okay, so that was a bit later.
Yeah, they were at like 67. They got the technical to go up to 68. And then I don't think they scored another point.
Yeah. Yes. That's just an all-time.
Or maybe it was to go to 67. I don't know.
Missing those free throws too. I was like, oh my God.
I'm gonna limit one thing here. We're not going to talk about Tulane boy Sion James. We're not going to talk about Sion James on this podcast. I'm not. We're not slandering nothing.
We'll keep him exempt.
He's exempted from this situation.
I will say though, it's like it's weird. Duke is bounced, but I forgot how much I love just drinking Duke fan tears.
I'll put it this way. My thought process was if Duke makes it to the championship game, Duke will beat Florida. If Houston makes it to the championship game, Florida will beat Houston. That was my thought process going into Saturday, and I'm sticking with it. Houston at some point, no matter what, finds a way to lose. Like, until I'm proven wrong, like if they come back and they win this game tonight, I will come on the podcast on Thursday's episode, and I will have
Who will you
an
apologize to
apology.
first? Is there a specific? It could be a literal player or coach on Houston. It could be Hakeem Olajuwon. Is there anyone specifically you want to apologize
Case
to?
Keenum. Can I apologize to Case Keenum?
Yeah, yes, you can.
Yeah,
And
I'll
you can
apologize
also
to Case Keenum.
apologize to Michael Crabtree while you're at it.
No, no, no.
Graham Harrell?
No, maybe I'll apologize to Willie, but I don't know.
You could apologize to Cliff Kingsbury. He's technically Texas Tech. And Lincoln.
No, it needs to be Houston specific.
Tank
Dell?
Shit. I just went off the rails.
Tank Dell?
Yeah, he's Houston.
Yeah, he's Houston. I can do Tank Dell. Maybe a Clayton Tune. I'm just not going to apologize to any basketball people. Just straight football players. That's it.
Yeah. No,
you know what? No, I'll apologize to Kelvin Sampson. I was not familiar with your game. That's what it would be.
I'm trying to think of like a current basketball player who went to Houston. The only one I can think of is Quentin Grimes, but I don't think he plays. Well, like I don't think he plays in the NBA. Like of a guy that played. Like
Sasser plays on. He's on the Pistons.
Well, he's on a team, but
he was a first-round pick this past year.
I think like 3 first-round picks last year are in the NBA. I think like 27 of 30. I'm not joking. Like,
but you know, I will. I'm just that confident in Florida winning this game tonight. I'm that confident in Florida winning. I'll apologize.
Is it more so? Is it that you're confident for winning, or is it you're really confident in Houston choking? That's what it sounds like.
That's more what I'm confident. I'm very confident in Houston choking.
No, yeah, that sounds more likely. And you are like me this past month. I've been the leader of the Houston's gonna lose train. Like every single round.
I've been on the train. I've been on the train that they're gonna lose at some point. It's just you and I disagreed at what point they would lose.
Yeah,
I thought they were going to lose in the Final Four. Not in the Final Four, the Elite Eight. I thought they were going to lose in the Elite Eight.
I could not stop thinking of 8-seed Wisconsin against Villanova in 2017.
I thought they were going to lose to Tennessee. That's where I thought that they were going to get knocked out. I was wrong, clearly.
But yeah, I picked Tennessee too. That, looking back, just an awful pick.
Very bad selection.
Tennessee is just a worse version of Houston.
Yeah.
That was an awful idea.
I mean, Florida's going to win this game. Florida, they're going to be national champions again.
Are you confident that Florida's going to win this game, or are you confident Houston's going to lose this game? Which one is it?
I'm more confident Houston will find a way to lose this game than Florida will find a way to win.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, that sounds about right. But yeah, it has been last Saturday. That was March Madness. That is what we were waiting for.
No, I mean, that was the definition of like, you're getting one seed.
People are going to completely forget those opening rounds and just remember the end.
That's the problem now, though, is you're remembering the end, and everybody's complaining like, this isn't March Madness. March Madness has like 4 seeds and 5 seeds going into the Final Four, and this was all ones. But this is what you get when you have all 1 seeds playing each other.
Yeah, no, and all it's objectively good that we have all 1 seeds. Like that was objectively a good thing. The past 3 years, we've had like a San Diego State in there, or
the difference though is FAU did win. They did win.
Yeah, but that means now the national championship is not important.
True. Maybe UConn. I don't think was UConn a 1 seed the year that they first won. The first year that they won
with Kemba.
No. I'm talking like within the last 4 years.
They were a 5 seed.
Yeah. So, but I mean, maybe the only improvement we could have is if Auburn did not make it to the Final Four. That might have been the only improvement, because the end of that game was just, I mean, you kind of knew what was happening by the end of that game.
Well, it's just if it was Sparty in there, then it's like,
hey, Tom Izzo makes things interesting.
Tom Izzo makes things interesting when he's a low seed. When Tom Izzo's the favorite in March Madness, it does not end out well for him.
It's the same thing like Houston, though. It's at some point. At some point.
Yeah, my only...
And Duke, too, at some point.
Well, Duke's also really weird, though, because they have overperformed very heavily in the last 2 years. So it's weird with them.
Last year, for sure. This year, I don't know.
Jared McCain just McCained his way to what, the Elite Eight? Is that what I think Duke
Yeah.
made to the Elite Eight last year. Like
Yeah.
I think it's like fun in the sense that Alabama, Houston, well, Florida's more of a basketball school, but last 10 years, kind of see some new blood in there. We're not seeing another Duke, Villanova,
I
North
just
Carolina,
I think that
Kansas. Like,
I don't know. This year was also just weird because it would the teams that were like Cinderella possibilities were just there was a very big separation this year compared
yeah, and
to
I think
previous years. And
moving
that's the point.
forward, it's going to be tough to find those Cinderella teams. Like when I think of just like 15, 10 years ago,
And I think
those.
this is also the biggest example of the transfer portal
No,
and
yeah, no,
NIL
no,
playing
that's what I'm
into it. So,
getting into. Like transfer portal, NIL, like college basketball is now a brand new sport. It is a brand new sport now. Like,
which I'll be honest, for the sake of March Madness, like I know people were talking about imposing like caps and stuff for football and whatnot, but like legitimately for like the sake of March Madness, basketball should be the first sport, if any sport, to have a conference limit placed on NIL spending or a school limit or team limit or sport limit placed on NIL spending, just so you can have the
created by
stability.
who?
Probably the NCAA. It'd have to be a standard. Does it have to be
Yeah,
applied
yeah.
universally?
Like
But the
one,
point of it, the point of
yeah,
it, so that the March Madness and you could still have these Cinderella teams, because really, with the everybody, I think for the most part, their favorite part of March Madness is the first weekend when you get those teams that upset
yeah.
and you get those games where you're like, holy
And
fuck, Virginia
specifically when
just
you pick
lost.
that upset to happen, and it
Yeah, well,
happens
that too. But like,
specifically
you're just like, dude, for how did Virginia just lose,
at UNBC Wilmington, I
or
believe.
how did Ohio State just lose?
Oral Dickinson, Max Asmus, that's
So
how. But
yeah, or how did Kentucky just lose?
Jack Golke,
Jack Golke, that's
Jack,
how.
Jack motherfucking Golke. Mm-hmm.
So, but like that, I like to have those moments. Like obviously, Jack Golke was in his last year, anyways, so that's one thing. It wouldn't have mattered, but to
Well,
have
it's
those
just like a
moments,
Jack Golke, like he was in his last year, and like that's a very rare situation where going into his last season, Jack Golke and I believe like a lot of his teammates were all like fourth years, specifically
yeah,
at Oakland their whole career,
yeah,
and like the example is Walter Clayton on Florida. Now, Walter Clayton, 3 or 2 years ago, or I believe 3, 4 years ago, he was the starting point guard for this team called the Iona Gales, who were led by one Rick Pitino. And Walter Clayton led Iona as the 15 seed in the tournament. They got absolutely shit on by the 2 seed. However, that was enough to then go to Florida and you see what Walter Clayton Jr. is doing
yeah.
right
But
now.
the difference is,
But
it's
it's
not
those
saying,
guys, the
yeah,
top guys on an Iona or your 15, 16 seeds, they're now like a starter on a
yeah.
power
But
four
like,
school.
here's the thing. Every year, it's not new things that the teams, those Cinderella teams, their best player typically ends up leaving after the season, or the coaches every year,
Oh yeah, no,
any team that's a
the
Cinderella,
coaches.
they leave.
If you want to see a coaching
But
carousel, the college basketball coach, I mean,
yeah,
holy shit.
but the point is like that's not news. Those players leaving, whatever, like that's not news. The difference is when an entire team is built from transfers. Because for the most part, we see teams, you might have one or two transfers in their starting, but like for them, like a lot of the time, those big schools have homegrown talent that they still
Right in
use.
college basketball.
Yeah.
Oh, I hardly dis.
I
Every
would
team
say
is
I'd say they
so
still have like
transferred.
no,
It
they
is
still have
ridiculous.
I'm saying they still typically have like two or three guys. Or they're getting transferred from
I
like
literally think I
already
read this.
power four
Well,
schools. The
they're coming
difference,
from good places, but like I think I
yeah,
read
but
the
I'm
other
saying
day
like
that like of the like in the Sweet 16 of the like 16 times like 10 of the like 150 160 players that actually play for these teams in the Sweet 16, I think like 80% of them were from the portal.
no, yeah, but like what I'm trying to say is like compared to what like the average percentage of a team's composition was to 5 years ago, it is drastically different. And that wasn't saying that there weren't players already 5 years ago that were portal players. And we've seen this even the last like 3 years. There are portal players. But the top teams year in, year out spend more money on those top portal players compared to what it was before. And then we're seeing
Oh
the
yeah, yeah,
very there
sure.
being a big difference in the gap of talent between those because we've seen those 15 seed the Cinderella teams get pillaged every year. Like that's a normal thing that happens. Like the
Yeah, I
coaches
mean
leave, the top
they're like
players leave.
20-point underdogs for a reason
Yeah.
going into the game. So
But the bigger difference is like the first year or two, like you might have a team that doesn't make the tournament at all, and their top player was just like, "See ya, I'm gone. I'm gonna go
yeah,
get
no, no, that
paid."
that is happening.
That's the bigger problem because I mean, while that would happen, it wasn't as frequent, and it definitely wasn't happening as frequently as teams that made the March Madness and then were having their top players leave. Like that's why we're seeing a difference in the Cinderella teams, the quality of the Cinderella teams, because those players are all leaving after their freshman year.
Yeah, I mean they all get poached somewhere else, but it's just like that's kind of just what's going to the
But
rich is going to get
that's
very rich.
no, I know, but that's why I was saying maybe imposing basketball specifically being the first kind of sport to have an imposed standard for NIL budgets might positively
Oh
impact
yeah,
things
it
like March
also is just
Madness.
if you think so. I think I read that Duke has an 8 million or $6 to $8 million NIL budget next year, and it's like okay, like Ohio State got 20 million, right? 20 million for how many scholars is it 105 scholarship player? How
Yeah,
many?
yeah,
100.
I think
So
105.
you know, on a per player basis, it's like not as
And
much
well, it
as
just got
per
increased though.
player
Maybe it's like
Duke.
120 now.
Yeah, but per player Duke, you got I don't know how many scholarship spots they have, but I mean, shit, you got 9 dudes
I was
who
gonna say
will
like
play
8.
meaningful minutes for you. 9 guys. Some teams it's 8. So you're 8 million to 8 guys. A lot easier to do than 20 million to 105
Yeah, the
guys.
budget doesn't need to be as big, but also like that means more players on average in basketball are getting allocated more money.
Yeah. And I'll be honest though, if you are like a Walter Clayton, I think he's a senior. I think he has to go.
No, he does.
Walter Clayton deserves, I don't know, 2.5 million. He does because I
No,
mean
he
the
does.
eyeballs are on him. So
He does. But at the same time, it's like one of those things where it's like if there's an unlimited amount of money you can spend, there are going to be a school like Florida this year, right? Like Duke is going to outspend Florida in basketball. It's going to happen.
and I
Um,
mean, if of all these teams, UConn's probably going to spend the most next
yeah.
year.
Either way, but like that means the teams that make it this far, like it's going to be like let's say Walter Clayton had another year and he stayed, right? It was going to be really hard to compete with those other schools to even spend the money because they're just going to outbid you so hard.
Well,
So, but like it's also
to
the bigger point.
Florida,
No, I know, but Florida's an arbitrary example. Like, don't think of it as like Florida, right? Like my,
but
my
like a
bigger,
Walter Clayton Jr., like a big name player like that.
yeah, but like my bigger point is like you're gonna have to build around these players, right? And like at a certain point, you still want the prestige of your school to speak more. And I'm not saying it doesn't, like a Duke or you like like Duke. We talked about this. You think of college basketball, you think of Duke, right? So
Yeah,
it's the
beat
point
North
of
Carolina.
if everything is a standard too, though, like and you get offered 2.5 mil to go, let's say 2.5 mil to go play at Duke, or 2.5 mil, and let's say that's the top amount of money you can spend on a player. Is to say you offer 2.5 mil to play at Duke or 2.5 mil to go play at uh like Florida, you're probably going to take the 2.5 mil to go play at Duke, and that's because it's Duke. But the difference is if I say, hey, I
Ooh,
can
I don't
offer you,
know. 2.5 mil at Duke or
but
four and a half Florida.
let's say Duke,
We
let's
going.
say the limit that you can spend on a player is $2.5 million.
Go Gators.
If like USC offers you 2.5 million to come play with them, and Duke offers you 1.5, you're gonna go to Duke for 1.5, which is probably a million less of the cap because it's
I
Duke.
don't know.
I
Two and a
think
half
that
million is a
maybe that's
lot of money.
I think at a certain point prestige should matter, and I think with money prestige matters a
Well,
little bit
hey, as an
less.
Ohio State fan, I'll chime in and slightly push back. If there were limits and you can only spend X amount of money, well, oh, good. Ohio State recruiting just went through the roof. Holy shit! If we do that, then oh no, you're telling me Miami now can't outbid me for so why is there any reason to ever even think about Miami when you could go to Ohio State?
The difference is if
If
everybody's
you if Duke if
if
everyone's offering
everybody's
the same, everyone's
I'm
going to
not talking
Duke.
about football
Everyone's going to
here.
North
That's
Carolina.
one thing.
Everyone's going to these.
But yeah, here's the thing. They can only have so much money to spend. Everybody can't go. That's the point.
No, no, I know,
Even
but you just
like
see nine
if
guys.
but yeah. But here's the thing. Before NIL existed, that was already the case. If Duke offered you, if UNC offered you, whatever, you're gonna go because it's with Coach K. It is
Well, not
Coach K.
exactly. Bagmen in the SEC.
Yeah, I know, but like still, you get my general point is that if you get an offer to go be with Coach K, you're gonna go with Coach K. But Coach K only has so many offers to make. Even if the bagman exists, he can't give 25 offers to kids and poach the top 25 players of a single
I think
year.
Coach Cal would like a word with you on that one. But
Well,
yeah,
the point is the
well,
roster size doesn't exist for that.
yeah, but it's like if it was uniform, I think that'd actually be bad. The no limits, at least right now, I think allows a Florida to get there.
I think it in the long term, the no limits with NIL and the transfer portal will create such a massive rift between the top programs and the bottom programs in the style of recruiting and your ability to recruit that in the end we're not going to see
No, yeah,
Cinderella
yeah.
teams or
NIL's got
anything like that
problems.
anymore. That's the
NIL's got
problem.
problems.
And that's why I'm saying if you have a standard after you get through the top, like it's no matter what, there's going to be echelons of schools, right? Like you're always going to have the like kids wanting to go to a Duke, a UNC, maybe a Purdue, maybe an Arizona, right? Like I'm just
Love
labeling
how
off
Purdue
teams.
got one in there, but yeah.
But and then you're gonna have another set where it's like a UCLA, right? You're gonna have another set of schools where you might have I guess UConn would be up there, but like whatever, right? And it keeps going down. Then you get to the American, you get to the some about whatever, right? Like Gonzaga's up there. The point is that like no matter what, you're gonna have your tiers, and if the players in the top tier don't get recruited, they're gonna want to go to the next tier, and then that tier will fill up, and those players will go to the next tier, right?
Yeah.
And with the way NIL is working, that doesn't really happen that way because you just spend money on whatever.
Well, I'd say the one thing in basketball, it kind of governs itself in the sense, but every 5-star in basketball is like probably like the most like competitive, like ego
True.
full of themselves player. And like it's not very often you see 2 5-stars at the same position go to the same school. They don't want to compete with each other. Basketball players, they don't. Competition is the most horrifying thing you could say.
But the problem is when,
player.
like, that is true to a degree. But when you're offered an amount of money, like schools might not care, and like it's the same way like in football where you might have 2 quarterbacks that are 5 stars both get recruited by like an Ohio State, and they're both going there. Maybe it's to compete, but also it's because they're getting paid so much money they just don't care because they'll just transfer after a year if they lose the battle and they just made a lot of money to begin with.
Yeah, yeah. Like
it
just
might be a similar, but the point is,
yeah.
it might get to a similar position in basketball where those top players are gonna go, and you're gonna get playing time no matter what. If you're a 5-star player, you might lose the starting role, but like you will come off the bench and you will play, especially at one of those programs. And the difference
like,
is,
for
if
many
I'm getting
of those
paid,
5-stars, they don't want to come off the bench. Like recently,
I know, but the
Rutgers
point
has been
recruiting. Yeah, but I mean, I'm saying like if I'm offering you both $4 million, both of you get $4 million to come play at Duke, starting like point guard. Not saying either of you are going to win the competition. You got to play. One of you is going to be on the bench, but you'll get playing time. I'm going to pay you $4 million.
Well, this is the
versus
thing. If you're
paying
a Duke,
like
I don't think
you
Duke
could
would
get
ever
$4 million.
do that.
I know, but it's an example. I'm saying if you're getting paid $4 million to go to Duke with a chance to maybe end up being on the bench versus a $3 million or $2 million to go to Rutgers and start, that's a $2 million difference. And the difference is, would you rather get $2 million more and maybe not start for a year, or start and get $2 million less? That's a lot of money.
My
and
ass is sitting on the bench.
That's my point.
No,
that's
yeah.
my point. So
but
it's just it could get to a point.
It
could get to a point though. That's what I'm saying. In the future, that might be something that
sure,
happens.
But like for like in this extreme example here, it's like there's no restrictions, and in 15 years, Duke has a $90 million NIL budget. Florida has 10 mil. But shit, I'm kind of on the side of, Duke, if you're willing to invest that much money,
Well, I mean, it's an evolving
College
market
basketball
though.
is
Like
very hard
there's
to
gonna
win.
be as more money becomes available, as NIL expands, more money will become available. And it will continue to grow. And that like not every program is
Well,
going
yeah,
to
but
grow
I
at the
mean, like
same rate.
2.5 million for a bench guy is
I mean, in the end, though, if you have the ability to do that, there will spend the money to do that because the whole point of retaining and develop, or not retaining and developing, the whole point of the program is building the program to win.
well, yeah.
And if that's what it costs to win, like all the guys in the sports are competitive. All the guys in sports have big egos. All the guys in sports want to win. They're competitors.
Mhm.
And if it costs you 2.5 million, if you're a donor and you're like, hey, I could give you, we saw this with Michigan with Dave Portnoy, right? Like you're telling me I could give you 2.5 million of my money and I could guarantee us a
Add a
five
one on
star.
front of it for Bryce Underwood.
I know, but
13 million for Bryce Underwood.
but I'm saying
Oh yeah,
if I
come
could
on
give you
board, dog.
$3 million to guarantee we get a 5 star to come off the bench, and we like I'll be like, fuck yeah, I'll give you $3 million to get a 5 star to come off the bench because that there's more
Well,
likelihood that we win if
in
there's a 5 star
range.
coming off the bench.
Well, like in range, like
I know.
if you're Duke and it's like you can have one 5 star on the bench, but that means the rest of the players are ranked 150 to
Yeah, but
200 in the class.
we're not saying that. We're saying that they already have that. Let's like you go up to like 12 donors and you go, "Hey, if I can get $3 million from each of the 12 of you and I can get a 5 star at each of these I can get 5 stars to start and I can go and spend the rest to get five
Well, the
stars off
great
the
news is
bench."
there's not a school that has that right now.
I know, but I'm saying at a point though where we continue to evolve with this and you go up and your
I
donors
think
and stuff are
maybe,
saying
but
you'll spend the money because
like
we've already
also
seen
at the
we already
same
seen in
time,
football. Obviously, football's a bigger team, but we've seen like a Bryce Underwood spending $12 million to get a single player.
mhm.
Like basketball is obviously behind
And
where
I mean,
football's at,
hey,
and
as
it's
an
a bigger
Ohio State
team. But
fan, I obviously wouldn't like Bryce Underwood to be on Michigan. I'd prefer if he was at LSU, duh. But knowing the circumstances, 12, 13 million for him, I'm completely fine with it because if Bryce Underwood doesn't pan out, oh yeah, that I don't know. I don't know if that donor is going to be forking over 18 million for the next 5 star.
I'll be honest, it's
He
about
might still
passion.
be, and if he does,
It's about
that's a
passion
Michigan
though.
man right
Like these
there.
donors, a lot of the donors for these programs, it is all about passion. And if it's like, hey, this guy didn't work out, like you can't foresee that, whatever. Like we're like, all right, well, I still want to win. I'm gonna
No,
give
no,
you money to
I
get the
know,
next guy.
but that specific donor,
I don't think it's like that. I think that it's if it
I don't
doesn't
know,
work out,
Everett.
it's just I'm telling you,
I don't know how
I
many teams have a guy that's I'll give you 14
like
million for this 5 star. They
if
bust. And
money
then 3 years later, that same head coach is like, I know this next guy's gonna be him. Not the bust we just had.
if
I just need
I
19 and
think
a half.
I think that if money is not a
Owner's gonna be
problem,
like, let me meet this kid and his family first. All right.
I think if money's not a problem and you're a donor of a program to begin with, if you're a donor of the program, you're clearly passionate about the sport and you want them to win. Like those guys, the donors are also very competitive. They want to
Yeah,
see their
yeah.
program succeed and they will do whatever they need to see the program succeed. So
But
one
also very
player
rich
that they had to spend
donors
money.
with
But
that
if
money don't like to see their money being wasted.
well, it's not that they're saying their money was wasted. It's just an inopportune situation that's the way they played out.
I don't think they
I
view it
don't
like
think
that.
I
If
personally
I just
think
paid
that
13
if
mil
it
for a 5 star and he busts, I'm livid. I'm
yeah
going up to the coach. What the hell happened? You
it's
told me he was a
yeah,
hit.
but my point is like sometimes whether players bust or not is ultimately on the players, not on the coaches. And on top of it,
It could be on the
it
coaches,
could be yeah,
100%.
but I'm saying
I know
that's why I
many
said
Ohio State
sometimes.
D
That's why I said
linemen who were
sometimes.
failed by Ohio
That's
State.
why I said sometimes. But the bigger point is, I personally think if a donor is willing to fork out money for an athletic program for a team specifically, those donors, for the most part, are more focused on the success of the program than the money itself. And they're going to give the money to create the success. And if one player doesn't work out, that's not going to prevent
No,
them
I
from spending
know.
the money on another
They're
player.
still going to be donating.
So that's
But
why I'm saying I don't think it matters.
the odds of you dishing out the next $15 million contract to the 5 star quarterback when
I
the
just think
last
that
one just failed.
it's like passionate fans. Like if let's say in the NFL, maybe this is just me, but if the NFL required donations to run instead and the fan donations to get players, let's just say that's how the salary cap worked for a second.
Okay. Oh, I see what you're saying now. Okay.
And let's say they came up to me and they're like, "Hey, when you draft a first round player, they need a donor to sponsor the first round player's contract." I don't know how much JJ McCarthy's contract is, right? For me and how much of a fan of the Vikings I am, if they were like, hey, let's say it's $10 million. We need $10 million for JJ McCarthy's contract, his entire contract. They're like, hey, can we get $10 million? I'll be like, do you draft a quarterback? Fuck yeah, here's $10
Well,
million.
I know that's you.
And then my point is, if JJ McCarthy busts and they come back to me 2 years from now and they're like, hey,
this is
we want to draft. But that's my point is I'm such a passionate fan of the Vikings. I don't care.
But
and I'm saying
for
other donors,
I'm
assuming it's the same thing if you're donating to an athletic program.
For the donors that are rich and have like hundreds of millions of dollars, I would imagine that they're, I don't know, slightly concerned with money to be that rich. I don't know.
No, yeah, but I also don't think you get into being a donor by being concerned with how much you donate to the school.
Yeah, I get that too.
So I don't think that if donors were donating, I think that they would be like, hey, I have a set amount I can donate per year. And you tell the program, hey, I can only donate 15 million a year, right? Or 10 million a year. They're not going to come and ask you for more than that, but they'll be like, hey, we're going to use your money and go and get, like, they might, but they're going to know, if you're setting that boundary, you're going to say no. Like, it's not going to prevent you from saying no or stop donating to them. They're still going to donate the $10 million to them every year. Well, you're just not going to donate more. The point is, if there's probably an allotment that they say per year, you're going to say per year, hey, I'm going to spend $10 million on this. And they're going to use it on this player. They're going to use it on Bryce Underwood. Or they're going to do whatever. And I'm not going to stop doing that just because one player busts that I had my money spent on.
Well, I mean, $13 million is that's like the largest number ever recorded for a player.
Yeah, but my point is, if I'm willing to spend that amount,
this is like one of this dude's first donations too.
I don't think in the
first long run, donation, 5-star quarterback, 13 mil. He busts so bad. No, worse, you get NCAA sanctions. The dude transfer, leaves Michigan, but guess what?
Michigan
still owe him.
Michigan and sanctions. Michigan and one, it depends on his contract, but two, Michigan and sanctions are irrelevant at this point because that's looking at something that's really isolated and it is not every program.
No, yeah, of course, just the scumbags up north.
So yeah.
No, you're right. That is not present for every program. They're the only program that has been caught directly cheating for on-field result. They're the only team in college football history, actually. Fun fact, it's crazy.
But yeah, I guess that's just our little debate, I guess, on NIL and stuff. But we said at the start of the episode, we'll talk a little bit about the Masters. So why don't we talk a little bit about the Masters? And we can go over
more Masters.
I think we just need to say maybe who we think is going to win.
Win the whole thing. Okay, win the whole. I think Rory's going to win it all.
Okay, so he's ranked 2 right
vibes, now. I don't care. Don't tell me any rankings for the future.
Okay.
Just off of what I've been following, what makes me interested in this Masters, what makes me the most interested is a potential Rory versus Liv guys at the end. That is what would have me hooked on Sunday.
Well, Scotty's probably going to be in there at the end.
No, I know. But for me to be hooked, give me Bryson versus Rory. And we're doing it to the death. And they're both 5 strokes ahead of third place.
will be there is crazy.
Well, he was last year, right? Or 2 years ago.
2 years ago, I think. But
I don't know. They all blend in.
Did he had a massive choke though. He had a massive choke.
Not as bad as Ludwig Aberg, my guy.
Well, that Aberg is the kind of guy that I kind of like.
No, but I like it though. He had that experience. He had that. I mean, it can't. I think he bogeyed the last 7 holes. It can't get worse than that. Well, he could double bogey the last 7, so it could. But I'm gonna guess it's not.
Yeah. So I do this every year. I swear. I do this every year. I like Morikawa, Grant. I'm going with Colin Morikawa to win the Masters this year.
Okay. Now, one thing I saw recently, and for you, Everett, and for anyone watching right now, I'm going to need all of you to go to the App Store on your phone right now and download the Masters app. Okay, all of you. Just I don't care if you like golf or not. I'm just going to need you to spend like 5 minutes, not just you, Everett, anyone listening. I'm going to need
Yeah.
you, listeners, to spend 5 minutes just going through it. Whatever interests you, I don't care. Pick anything you want. But I just want you to go through it, look at it, how great it is. And then also they have a little fantasy game on there, which I haven't played this in the past, but it just has like a bunch of different like players on it. And this is where I got that projection score thing saying John Rahm's the
Yeah.
second favorite to win.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, no,
He's
no.
no, no.
None of that shit. But on this app, they have like a little fantasy. Pick a player by like region or something. And I would like to announce my picks right now.
Okay.
My official fantasy masters picks, which I didn't even know this existed until like last night. These are my official fantasy picks. Okay. Past champ, Hideki Matsuyama. I did it for his masters menu. I'm not expecting Hideki Matsuyama to do anything. But out of respect, he is my past champ. United States, Brooks Koepka. That will be my representative. International, my representative will be
I'm
Rory
sorry.
McIlroy.
You said Brooks Koepka or
Brooks
Scotty
Koepka.
Scheffler?
Yeah, no, I'm not taking this seriously. Hideki is my pick
Oh.
for past champs.
Oh.
This is
Okay.
not serious. Brooks is my pick for the United States International. I still had to go with Rory, but there's a reason why I went with Rory International, because I want to leave open my last spot. First timer, I wanted the Ohio State guy to be on there, but he played last year and didn't count. So I just picked a guy named Highsmith. Don't know anything about him, but Highsmith, you're my guy. And then wild card. This is all my money's on this wild card. That's where Ludwig Aberg's going for me in my wild card.
Okay. Okay.
But I'm
All
I'm
right.
expecting an average score of all six players. I'm expecting an average of 9 over. Anything under, I'll be disappointed. I want 9 over.
No, we're talking like the actual score of the players here, correct?
Yes, 9 over total score after their Masters weekend. It could be 2 rounds, could be four. I hope a good amount of these guys don't make the cut, is what I'm getting at here.
Yeah, I'm just looking at stuff to make the cut right now. And Bubba Watson plus odds to make the cut, not good.
Oh yeah, no, I think I
Max
wouldn't
Homa
throw in
too.
that, but like
Phil
I toss a
Mickelson's not great.
Bubba Watson to miss the cut. I toss that in a parlay. I toss that in.
Yeah. Oh God. Um. Yeah. I mean, like, all these golfers are also just so good that it's really hard to like think about them missing a cut.
Yeah, that is another thing about golf, because it's not like if you're even or under par, you make the cut. Like it's just what, half the field, or I don't know the
Yeah,
number, but like
it's about half.
yeah,
So
it'd be interesting if it was like if you shoot like 2 over or better, you automatically make the cut. If that was the case, I wonder how
well,
many
that's also
masters there
why,
was
like,
worth.
thinking about it, like, it was a huge deal when Tiger just made the cut the
Yeah,
other year. And he didn't make it any further than that, but like him just making the
making
cut,
it
they were like,
was
dude,
was
holy shit.
literally a mountain of an achievement, essentially.
Yeah. Um,
But yeah, that could be the Masters breakdown right there.
yeah.
I am invested. Last little piece of news got to close out the episode. Vladdy Jr. got $500 million today.
Well, there's another thing after this I want to end with, but yes,
Okay, yeah,
continue.
I just want to say though, like looking at these other big time contracts right now, like the Shohei 700, which is accounting wise Shohei for I think 460, just off of luxury tax numbers. It's 46 a year accounting wise. Like that Shohei contract's gonna look ridiculous. Like it was the biggest contract in history at the time till Soto happened, but it's like Juan Soto just got like 730 or 735 or something. Vladdy just
Yeah,
got 500, and Vladdy is an
it
awful
it is
fielder.
it is funny to me. Like baseball's the only sport where you see contract lengths that long.
10 plus years.
Like,
Only
is
sport.
Vladdy going to be playing in 15 years, Grant?
15, no. 10?
No way.
In 10
Probably
years, there's a chance that he's still elite. I'll be honest.
he'll be DHing at that point in time,
But
purely
that's the thing.
DHing.
It's it's not a plus glove. Like I went back on this forever, but like when we extended, or I guess when we just trade for Mookie, like immediately extended, but that always made sense to me because he's a 5 tool. He also plays defense. If he goes 0 for 4 in a series, guess what? He might rob a home run and throw someone out for you like he did in 2020. Like, I'm okay paying a position player 30 mil over 10 years or 30 mil per year over 10 if you provide me output
Defense.
in more than one way.
Yeah.
Because hitting, even if you're a goated hitter, you're
Well, and
still
that
most likely to go 1 for 4 in the playoffs,
that
even if you're
also
elite. Like,
obviously majorly applies to Shohei Ohtani too with pitching.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I
that
think
also
you've
changes
said on
everything.
this podcast too, like even with the contract we paid in, yeah, did he have a historic season hitting last year? Yes. But you were like, the
He needs to
contract
pitch. He needs
the
to pitch. We paid
contract
him a lot
itself
of
would
money.
not be worth it to just pay him to have what he did last year.
Yeah, I'm objectively speaking, like if Shohei, like, let's say this is the only season he pitches 30 innings, and then they're like, we have to, we're never pitching again. Like,
He'll play in the outfield.
I'll be, I'd
Or
hope so.
they'll stick him at first base,
But it's
probably.
just like, it's lost value.
No,
You're like,
100%.
shit.
You're not paying that much. No, 100%. Not with that contract. But like the bigger thing is like realistically, depending on what happens to Dalton Rushing or whatever, if Shohei's not able to pitch, they will find a place to put him. It's either going to be first base, it could be third base, it could be outfield. He will be playing something. They're not going to just have him DH at that point.
Yeah,
You're paying him that amount of money.
Too athletic.
Yeah. So
you'd have to.
And if he can't pitch, they might not put him at a position where he needs to throw it like he would have to do it from the outfield, because obviously that's a lot of stress on your arm too. But he will be playing defense somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. I think of that though, but when I think of like our two big time guys who could have got 300 that we let go, Trey Turner and Corey Seager. Now they're both like opposite players in terms of like hitters. They're like almost quite literally the exact opposite. Trey's a speedy right-hander, Seager's a power lefty. They like are quite literally opposite shortstops hitting. But their one shared similarity, they're both just some of the worst shortstops that I've ever had the pleasure and grace of playing shortstop for the Dodgers. Two of the worst shortstops I've ever watched in my life. When they got hit a ground ball, I would assume no outs. Like the dude's safe. If Corey is backhanding a ball at short, oh yeah, no, that's a single right there. I don't want to pay those guys 300 mil plus because of that defense, and you're gonna have an off series in the playoffs. Like, I don't care if you're Shohei Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani was absolute shit in the playoffs, absolute ass, and it's like the rest of the team was so great it was fine, but if you're paying 300 million to your shortstop, like your most important position on defense, and they're not good at shortstop, it's like, move to third, dog. Like,
yeah. No, I mean that goes into the Mookie conversation too.
yeah, like Mookie, like also versatility there. And it's like you could play any.
Edmonds currently he played shortstop. He could play center field.
Yeah,
He's
Edmonds
currently
all
playing
over.
center field.
Yeah,
Kike plays shortstop, plays first. And he's not good at first, but plays first, and plays outfield. So, and
I would say
he plays everywhere.
That versatility matters a lot more when you're a nice hitter. Like,
no, true. Well, Kike in the playoffs is a nice hitter, but
no, exactly. But a Chris Taylor, for example, like Chris Taylor, we paid him because we didn't know the universal DH was going to be a thing, and we were under the impression, hey, we're having a pitcher hit 9 hole for these next upcoming seasons. and Dave loved his pinch hit,
Yeah.
pinch subs. He loved that. So made sense why Taylor got that money
Well,
done.
we're about to be done with him, Grant. So
Yeah, last ride, CT3, one last ride.
but yeah, the last thing we'll end this episode off of, I we gotta give props. Uh Grant, a new record has been set in the NHL.
Oh, yeah,
Alex
yeah.
Ovechkin has broken the great one, Wayne Gretzky's record of 894 goals.
Mhm.
I don't know if I watched that live.
I
I
was
had
not
to turn it
watching
on,
live. I
but
had to rewatch clips over and
phenomenal,
over. I loved just
phenomenal
that.
goal,
Oh
phenomenal
yeah,
goal for 895.
it's
No
crazy
better
how
way to do it.
I think I saw he's 39, either turning 40 this season or like
I think he's turning 40 this season.
he's turning
I
40
believe so.
soon anyway. But
Yeah.
like I was just seeing though, he's like third in the NHL in goals scored right now.
Yeah.
Like it's
But
not like he's
that is one of those things where, like, one, we might not see that in our lifetime
yeah, no,
again.
an all-time record like that be
And
broken.
two, like,
Well,
it's like
just
watching.
LeBron all-time point shit. LeBron did
Yeah,
shit.
but
That's
but
why
the
he's the
point is, like,
GOAT.
the point is, like, per each sport, right? Like, we're probably in our lifetime, there's a large chance we don't see somebody break LeBron's record. In our lifetime, there's a
That will
high
never be
chance
broken.
we probably
I'm gonna
don't
come out and
see
say that now.
somebody
That will never be
break
broken.
Alex Ovechkin's record. I don't really know what record we would be talking about for the NFL right now in relation to that, because I feel like a lot of those records are
Like
already
it,
hard to break because of,
yeah,
like, the
and
60s. But
yeah, maybe like an all-time
maybe like a sacks
touchdown
record.
record, a sack record.
Yeah. Interceptions, definitely interceptions, but that's not even going to get broken in our lifetime.
Oh,
But
you were meaning interception in terms of like for a defense player. I was thinking bad, like quarterback
thrown, no, Jameis
interceptions.
might break that. Jameis might break that. I think Brett Favre holds that maybe.
He does. He
Yeah.
does.
Look at my ball knowledge. But that's one of those things where, like, you're watching the NBA live. You're watching the Lakers play when he broke that. You're watching, at least I was watching the Nationals, the Capitals play when Ovechkin broke that. And, like, those kind of moments where, like, you have the entire game, the live game, stop. Everybody
no,
stops.
I love that.
And both teams are like,
well, okay.
Round of applause.
And this is coming from Laker LeBron fan over here. So I think I'm fair to say it. But when the Capitals pause the game for Ovi, I love that because in my eyes, as a non-puck knower, I do not know puck. In my eyes, it seems like hockey players, they would never do that shit unless it's for someone like Ovi, some achievement this great.
Yeah.
Like they
I think
wouldn't
that
just
made it
do
feel
that
even
for anyone, you know? And so that's why I thought it was cool because it's like, hey, I would think Ovi would be like one of the last guys to like ask for let's pause the game when I break the record. I want the whole stadium to pause and clap for me. I know LeBron requested that. Like I know LeBron James requested stop the game
Yeah,
for me. Ovi, there's
definitely
0% chance he would. If anything, Ovi may have found out before and asked, like, please do not, like, don't do that. Like, I don't want that.
Well,
I know LeBron made that.
Also, I just want to say that the coolest part of all of it is that Wayne Gretzky set the record versus the Islanders, and Ovi broke the record
Against
versus the Islanders.
the Islanders.
Also, both set in the exact same amount of games.
Oh, I thought you were about to say same building, like it was Freddie Freeman walk off.
Well, it was technically same building. It was both at the Islanders. It was both in New York.
Okay, let's run with that because that seems cool to me. So same building, same team. Shit. Let's say Gretzky also scored a one-timer left-hander banger top cheddar.
Behind the back.
Let's just say it was all the same. Let's just say that. Let's just say that.
No, I love that stuff.
The one thing I saw recently, though, is that if you took away all of not Alexander Ovechkin, if you took away all of Wayne Gretzky's goals, he would still be the all-time point score leader in NHL history. And that is the most absurd thing I've ever heard in my life. Holy shit. This dude may have averaged like 3 goal contributions a game.
Yeah, also, though, like, it was cool that the announcer for the Capitals was there for Ovi's very first goal, and he called the goal for breaking the record.
See, now, like, this is stuff in hockey where I don't think you can get this in the NBA.
Maybe
you
baseball.
You could get it in the MLB. Okay,
Yeah,
but
100%.
you don't get
You
that.
could
You
you
don't
can
get
get
those
it in
stories
the
in the NBA.
NFL, but it would have to be like a touchdown, like passing record.
Yeah, yeah, and
Like Paul Allen for the Vikings has been around for like 20 years. Like if the Vikings had had a Tom Brady or a Drew Brees, like he would have been there
yeah,
for the whole
NFL is
time.
also slightly harder just because now it's everything's on Fox,
It's
CBS. You're probably getting
true.
Greg
Well,
Olson or
you get
Brady. You
well
know.
the difference is it's the radio broadcaster guy. It would be like a Vin Scully doing it for the dog.
Okay, fair, fair.
Like that's the he wasn't on the live broadcast for it was like the radio
No,
broadcast. I'm
Vin
pretty
Vin
sure.
was on that
No,
broadcast.
I'm talking about for the
Oh,
NHL for Ovi.
got it,
I'm pretty
got
sure
it.
it was a radio broadcast. But um yeah, just needed to give a little shout out to Puck Nation right there to the NHL.
Yeah, I
We're
will say,
also
yeah.
about to get NHL playoffs, which are about to be fantastic. And I will add, and I'm not going to let us go on a tyrant about this because the episode needs to wrap up in the next 2 minutes before tip off. Um, NBA, this Western Conference, the final week of the Western Conference here going in the playoffs is incredibly like it's the closest I think I've ever seen. All these teams in the Western Conference competing for playoffs and for play-in games are all within one game of each other. Like up to
I'll
the
be
third
honest.
seed, they're all within 1 or 2 games of each other. So
I'm
you
gonna
could
be
have a team
watching
get
that
knocked down to like
closely.
the 10 seed from 3 or from 4.
Oh
So
yeah, no, like Lakers are somehow still in third.
they have a two. I think they have a 1 game lead on like 3 teams behind them and a 2 game lead on like all the play-in teams.
Yeah, so 5 through 8, Clippers, Warriors, T-Wolves, Grizzlies, they are all 46 and 32.
Yeah. So it's gonna be the rest of this week going into the NBA final, NBA playoffs is gonna be a crazy one, especially for playing games.
And it
But
looks as of right now, if the season end today, Lakers would get the Warriors opening rounds. Oh boy. Oh boy.
good
Oh boy.
basketball.
Oh
But
boy.
I think we're gonna wrap up here. So with that, thank you guys so much for watching, listening, rate us 5 stars. You can find us on Spotify, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, and on Instagram at WaterboyPod. You can follow me and Grant on Twitter at Ever6 and at WaterboyGrant. We post new episodes every week on YouTube and all podcast platforms. So make sure to subscribe to us and turn on notifications so don't miss a single episode. You can also follow us on Instagram and on TikTok for our exclusive content at the Waterboy Pod. And with that, we'll see you guys next episode. Waterboys out.